Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about March horoscopes, obviously, because that's what you're here for. I'm hoping February has been nice to you. It has definitely been nice to me, but we have a lot happening in March, so we might as well begin. First of all, we've got Mercury retrograde in March, so brace yourselves. Don't say you have not been warned. On the 6th of March, Uranus enters Taurus. Then we've got a new moon in Pisces and a full moon in Libra. And there is also some movement on the planetary front for Venus, the planet of love and relationships. So let's start with, obviously, who else? Aries. Aries, my dear Ram friends. March is going to be quite interesting for you. I have to say this. First of all, on the 1st of March, we've got Venus entering Aquarius. Now, for you, this is going to happen in your 11th house of dreams, long-term goals and objectives, but also the 11th house is a very social house. It's the house of friends and friendships. So you might find that throughout the month of March, you might be making more friends than you have been making in the past year or so. You're going to be very well liked by the people that you surround yourself with. You're going to be even more charismatic than you usually are, because Aries, let's face it, is renowned for their charisma in general, and people are just gonna magnetically be drawn to you. So this is a very, very good month to go out, spend time with friends, find people who you share the same kind of dreams and objectives and aspirations and views of the world, and just hang out with them and soak in all the love and affection and goodwill that they have towards you. No matter what you do during this month, when it comes to friends and friendships and relationships, it shall be well received. I dare say that this time you're being direct and honest will not be taken as personally as it might usually be, as it usually is, by the more sensitive signs of the zodiac. So a very good month to get out into the world. Now, on the 5th of March, we've got Mercury going retrograde until the 26th of March. Mercury is gonna go retrograde in Pisces. Now, Pisces, for you, my dear Aries, is the 12th house. The 12th house is your house of the subconscious, of your past life and past lives in general. It is a very spiritual house. It is a house of retreat. It is a house of prayer. It is a house of looking inwards rather than outwards. Now, you might find that even though you're going to be very much in demand this month, you are going to feel the need to spend some time alone with yourself and possibly reevaluate your beliefs, your spiritual habits. You might be thinking a lot about what goes on inside of you as opposed to what goes on in the outside world. Aries is a positive sign, a fire sign. It's very outward facing. You are defined by the verb to do, but this month would be a very good month to reevaluate what goes on inside your head, what goes on in your subconscious, because no matter how much we try to avoid it, our subconscious actually reflects the reality of our day-to-day lives. So this is a fantastic time to reevaluate and maybe toxic patterns within your subconscious, maybe things that your subconscious is attracting in your life and you want to get rid of. This is also possibly a month in which you will be faced with past demons and things that you thought you might have gotten over. It's a good time to reevaluate the past and what it is that you've learned from it. And you might also have some sort of revelation in this area, because there's a lot of planets in Pisces until the 20th of March, and you're going to be doing a lot of thinking on your own by yourself. Take advantage of this time to re-steer yourself in a different direction from a subconscious and also a conscious point of view. If you've been trying to like ditch a really bad habit, or if you've been trying to ditch like certain negative thoughts or negative thought patterns, this is the month to really delve into it and do it. Now, on the 6th of March, we've got a new moon in Pisces in your 12th house again. So a new beginning, a new spiritual beginning, a new thought process beginning, I would say. And also a time for you to leave the past in the past and consciously acknowledge the fact that you have to spring forward, but only after you've dealt with the demons of the past, and more precisely the demons of your own subconscious, because we've all got them. We might be more or less aware of them, but we've all got them. Now, on the 6th of March also, this is a big day, let me tell you this. Uranus enters Taurus, and it's going to spend roughly the next 7 years in Taurus. Now, Taurus is your second house of money and earned income, and you might find, I've got good news, I told you, March is a time for reevaluation, but also a time filled with good news. Uranus might bring a windfall down your way, or you might see your entire financial life revamped and overhauled. Uranus, whatever it does, it's unpredictable, so it can go either way. You might see big fluctuations in the money that you make. I advise you the following, because Taurus is a very earthy and focused on security sign. If money does come your way out of nowhere, and more money that you've ever, it's not out of nowhere though, because it's going to be money that you earn through your own work. I advise you to make a long-term plan and to not expect the money that comes your way all of a sudden to keep on constantly flowing your way, because like I said, Uranus can go either way. So I advise you to take a more Taurian approach to your finances and think sensibly what it is that you're going to do with the upswing in income that is coming your way, because it's coming your way. Told you so. Now, on the 20th of March, Sun enters Aries, and it's going to be Aries season, and you're going to be in the spotlight, and you're going to be enjoying it like no one's business. So all eyes will be on you. You're going to feel like a sense of renewal, of revival, and you do very well with beginnings, with new beginnings, because after all, you are the sign that rules new beginnings. So you're going to feel like you're going to be given a new lease of life. And after you've been doing some introspection with Mercury retrograde in Pisces and all that, your optimism is going to be like really high, and you're going to be in much better mood than you've been for possibly the rest of the month, because like I said, you're going to be doing a lot of looking inwards. On the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra. Libra is your 7th house of partnerships and other people, and how you relate to other people. Now, full moons are always a time of crisis for some, but also a culmination in general. So a certain like very important partnership in your life, be it with your husband, your wife, your significant other, your long-term committed partner, might reach a pinnacle. And this might be like the culmination of what's been going on for the past year. It's actually very likely to be the culmination of what's been going on for the past year. And my advice is to not make any rash decisions and any rash movements, because Mercury is still in retrograde. So be careful what you say, be careful what happens. Take note of it, but do not act now. That is what I wanted to say to you. If I were to give you like a certain piece of advice, you might get quite annoyed with your partner, and you might feel like you're not seeing eye to eye anymore. Do not take any rash decisions at this point. My advice is to focus more on the financial side of your life and your career, because that is where the positive energy is, and that is where you should be channeling your efforts. Now, last but not least, on the 26th of March, Venus moves into Pisces. So again, your 12th house of introspection and retreat. I would allocate the last few days of March to a little bit of relaxation and a little bit of unwinding physically, if you can, just to tell you this. And last but not least, on March 31st, we've got Mars entering Gemini. Now, Mars is your ruling planet. Gemini is your third house of communication, sales, learning. For the next 2 months, from the 31st of March onwards, there's going to be a lot of learning for you to do. But you will enjoy it. You're going to love it because Mars in Gemini is an energy that Aries can work very, very well with. Now, one last piece of advice. Don't buy technology and electronics whilst Mercury is retrograde. My advice is not to buy any of these things throughout the entire month of March. Also, do not get annoyed with people because they are unable to understand your messages. This is, again, Mercury at play. Now, let us move on to Taurus. My dear Taurian friends, March has quite a few interesting things in store for you. Some of them you are gonna take better than others, but all in all, March is a month filled with changes for you. First of all, and the most important thing that I want to point out is we've got Uranus on the 6th of March moving into your sign for the next 7 years. You've got 7 years ahead of you in which your personality, your sense of style, your personal identity, how you see yourself, and how the world sees you will be overhauled. There will be changes. Some of them you will not take lightly. It will stir you on the inside. It might make you feel very anxious. It might make you feel like the rug is being pulled from underneath your feet, but it is all for a good cause. Some people in the next few years might not recognize you at all. You might even look at yourself in a couple of years' time and say, who am I? What have I become? As a sign that is not necessarily embracing of change. Actually, Taurians are quite notorious for sticking to their guns and trying to resist change in any shape or form. I would say do not try to resist it. It's coming. So you are going to feel and you're going to realize that you no longer have the same values that you had before, that you no longer care about the things that you used to care before, and you will feel the need inside of you and the subconscious push to change and to move on from who you've been. Do not let your mind and your logic try to resist it, because you are going to end up frustrating yourself and the change is going to happen anyway. And if the change does not come from the inside, then what tends to happen is the universe tends to force us through external events to change and reevaluate who we are, how we think, how we relate to the world. So you do not want the universe to do that. My advice is start doing it yourself and see what no longer serves you, what no longer represents who you are. And don't be afraid to move on from that. It doesn't mean that who you were before was not valuable. It just means you've outgrown that phase. So very, very important month. And you're gonna... So a transit is very strong at its beginning and towards its end. And you might feel already like the changes and the push for freedom and liberty inside of yourself. You might no longer be able to stick to what the authority figures in your life want you to stick to. You might feel the urge to break free. You might try to resist it, but it's going to be stronger than you. So don't try to resist it. Now, we have got on the 6th of March, apart from the fact that Uranus is entering Taurus, we've got a new moon in Pisces, and on the 5th of March, we've got Mercury going retrograde in Pisces. Now, Pisces, for you, my dear Taurus, rules the 11th house. This is going to be a time of new beginnings for you, friendship-wise. You might reevaluate your old friendships. You might decide that you actually have to let go of some of the friends that have been in your life for a very, very long time. This is also a good time to reevaluate past friendships that might have gone awry and might have gone sour for whatever reason. You'll find that people who were in your life before come back into your life again, and this time you've got a chance to start fresh and to start building on that relationship without lingering on past misunderstandings, past disconnections. It's a very good time to discuss about these things, because after all, Mercury is retrograde there, and Mercury is the planet of communication. So old challenges and old issues that you've had with your friends or the group of people that you're a part of might come to the fore again, and this time you will not be able to like sweep them under the rug. You'll have to deal with them. Be very careful also not to get upset with your friends, because Mercury, let's not forget, when it is retrograde, and also when it's retrograde in a watery dissolution focused sign such as Pisces, has misunderstandings spelt all over it. So don't cut people out of your life. Don't get too upset with them. Don't take it too personally, because it might have all been just a misunderstanding. FYI. Now, on the 21st of March, my dear Taurus, you've got a full moon in Libra in your 6th house of day-to-day work, health and well-being, and self-development, and also the house of new skills that we learn throughout our lives. It's the house where we perfect ourselves. In the natural zodiac, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo. It's a time when, work-wise, things might reach a culmination. So if things have been quite tense at work lately, they might bubble up and burst, or you might find yourself bursting and exploding work-wise, when it comes to relationships with your coworkers, when it comes to, I don't know, possibly the humongous amount of work that you take on. My recommendation would be to not break relationships and try not to burn bridges at this point, because everyone is stressed. Communication in general is not functioning well with Mercury retrograde. Old challenges and old arguments and old problems might come back to the fore. And the worst thing that you can do is to hold your frustration in, but also if you do let it out, and I have a feeling that you're gonna let it out with Uranus in your 1st house of personality, it's gonna come out of you. No matter what you do, you just can't stand it anymore. You just can't stand like people holding you back, coworkers holding you back. You just can't stand old habits that don't make any sense. You're gonna be very much focused on progress and leaping forward in the next 7 years, and this is gonna mean more arguments, more conflicts. Be very careful how you deal with them. You don't want to burn bridges, like I said, because people are already very sensitive with Mercury in Pisces, and communication is very emotionally charged. So a point of culmination or crisis around work on the 21st of March, my dear Taurus. Careful, this might also be a time when your old health problems flare up and old acute conditions flare up again. If you are planning, or if you need to have like any sort of like surgery, I would say leave it for like 10 days after. And be careful not to burn yourself out. Last but not least, on March the 26th, we've got Venus entering your 11th house of friends and friendships. So things are going to calm down. You're going to feel this like affection and strong sense of grace, and I would also say gratefulness for the friends that you do have in your life and for those who have remained in your life. The 26th of March is actually a very important date because this is also when Mercury goes out of retrograde. So this is a time to patch things up and focus on building relationships. My dear Gemini, March has a lot of good stuff in store for you, but also there is quite a strong potential of conflicts and arguments and having to go over things that you thought were like done and dusted. So let us begin. On the 1st of March and up until the 26th of March, let me tell you this. It is a very good time for you to focus on traveling. It would also be a very good time for you to travel to a place where you've been before. And it's a good time to revisit ideas and studies that you've undertaken in the past because you've got Venus transiting your 9th house of knowledge, of higher education, but also the house of long distance travel. This might be a very good month for you to reconnect with ideas that, like I've said, you visited in the past. Also reconnect with places that you visited in the past. And last but not least, with people that you might have met and that have had an impact upon the way you see the world. So from that point of view, it's going to be a very nicely flowing month. However, from the 5th of March till the 26th of March, we've got Mercury retrograde in Pisces in your 10th house of career. Now, Mercury retrograde tends to affect Geminis and Virgos a lot stronger than it affects other signs because this is your ruling planet. So what does that mean? First of all, I'm going to tell you that what I say to all signs, do not buy technology, do not buy electronic applications in March because they might be broken, they might break down, you might need to take them back, you might realize like a few days after you've bought them that you could have gotten like a way better deal somewhere else. So my advice, keep it for like April, keep it for a different month altogether. Now, because Mercury is retrograding in your 10th house of career, this is also the house of bosses and authority and higher authority. You might find that your boss is likely to misunderstand you more easily than they would on a regular day or like on any other month. So be very careful what you send in emails. Do check your emails, your spelling, do check the people that you're sending them to because this has the potential for like huge misunderstanding and miscommunications. Now, this is also a good time because Mercury retrograde doesn't just bring like communications breaking down and electronics breaking down. This is also a good time to revisit a topic that is important for you career-wise and that you might have like pushed to the side and focused on something else. So let's say, for instance, you've asked for a promotion at some point in the past and it was not a good time or like the company wasn't doing very well. This would be a good month for you to pick that topic up out of the bag again and go to your boss with it. Now, be very careful what moment you choose to do this because Mercury in Pisces is very emotionally charged and communications are very emotionally charged in turn. So if they've had like a bad meeting or if they are like going through something on a personal level, then you might want to wait a little bit longer. It's also a month when you're likely to revisit old projects that, again, you thought were like done and dusted, wrapped up. It's gonna be a time to open up the accounts book and go through things that are no longer running, but they are still relevant in some shape or form. Now, on the 6th of March, we've got a new moon in Pisces in your 10th house of career, and this is very significant because new moons in general bring new beginnings. However, with Mercury retrograde, this new beginning that you've got on the horizon for you career-wise, and it is the type of new beginning that only comes your way once a year. So I would say it is a good time to take advantage of it. But this new beginning has a very strong tie to the past, either through something that you've done before, either you might possibly receive a call from someone that you used to work for and they might want you back. But in any case, there is this like tie with the past. However, that's going to work in your favor or not. If it is related to the past, then go for it. If it's not related to the past, if you have to like sign a new contract right now, I would say try to delay it, or I would say try to read more into it. Try to make sure that you read the fine print if you do get like offered a promotion, a new job, because that's very possible. You might be receiving like a nudge up the ladder, but do make sure to cover all your bases, because things are very fuzzy and very easily misinterpreted with Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Now, on the 6th of March, we've also got Uranus entering Taurus for the next 7 years, and this is the 12th house for you. This is a house that has to do with spirituality. It's a house that has to do with our subconscious, our past lives, things we don't necessarily acknowledge in the real world, or things that we try to like push behind closed doors and not necessarily lead with or expose them. It is very likely that you are going to go through something that people call like fated events or karmic events for the next 7 years that are going to have an impact upon your link to the spiritual and your link with the collective unconscious and how you lead your life. This is the 12th house is also a house that is called the house of hidden enemies, and it doesn't necessarily have to be people that are your hidden enemies. It can be things that you were not aware of, that you did not acknowledge, and that now bubble up to the surface and you are no longer able to brush past them, so you're gonna have to deal with them in one way or another. Now, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra. And this is actually really nice and beautiful for you, because Libra is a sign that gets along very well with Gemini, and the full moon is happening in your 5th house of creativity, of romantic relationships, of children, and it is the house of play and fun. Now, if you are in a romantic relationship, I have to point out that arguments and conflicts and misunderstandings are again on the horizon because of Mercury retrograde, and because the full moon is a culmination, but it can also represent a crisis of some sorts, and egos are flaring up, and people are a lot more sensitive and a lot more impulsive and a lot more aggressive in some cases. So don't let that cloud your judgment, I would say. It is also very possible that if you work in any sort of like creative field, or if you have a very creative hobby, let's say, this is a time when you finish a work that you've been like focused on, or like a project that you've been focusing on, and you've reached the top. This is it. This is the result of your work. Maybe something that you started working on a while back, maybe something that you were very interested in and you spent a lot of time and on it, and it was your passion and it kept you really entertained, but then you let it go and now you're coming back to it, and now you're finally deciding to bring it all together. Last but not least, if you've got children, be very careful, because they might be a little bit more edgy and more likely to respond back. So again, conflicts with or arguments with children, or even if they're not arguments or conflicts, a situation that is related to children comes to a culmination. And last but not least, on the 26th of March, after Mercury goes back into straight motion, into direct motion, and we've got Venus entering Pisces. So again, your 10th house of career. I would advise you, if possible, to take advantage as much as you can of this period when you've got Venus transiting your 10th house of career for the next, from the 26th of March till like halfway through April. Take advantage of this to get some exposure in front of people in authority, in front of your bosses, and get some exposure and credit especially. So don't try to like avoid this for the work that you've been doing and for the time that you've spent focusing on your career. And that is Gemini. Now, let us move on to March 2019 for my lovely Cancerian fellow friends. FYI, in case you didn't know, and in case this is like your very first time on my channel, I am not a Pisces, I am a Cancer rising sign. So that's why I call Cancers my brothers and sisters, basically. My lovely, lovely Cancer. We've got an interesting month ahead. I'm not gonna say it's easy, because it's not, but it's nevertheless interesting. So, first of all, we've got Venus entering Aquarius on the 1st of March till the 26th of March in your 8th house of sex. So, from the 1st of March till the 26th of March, it is a good time to get down and dirty, I was about to say, but don't necessarily have to get dirty about it. Just like have loads of sex, because it's going to be really good. And you might feel like you are bonding a lot more, and that the connection with your partner is a lot stronger than ever, and you might feel sexier than ever, and you might feel more magnetic than ever. So if you're not coupled up, if you'd like to be coupled up, it's a good time to go out and just be there. Just be present, because your personal magnetism and Venus in the 8th house is going to do the rest. Now, with Venus in the 8th house, it is also very likely that you are going to receive some sort of like a gift or financial incentive from other people. This is not something that you necessarily worked with. It's actually very likely that you did not have to work for it. It's just people bestowing their love through gifts for you in this way. It is also a good time if you need to like apply for a mortgage, if you need to require investment from someone, if you just need people to like give you money for whatever reason, or institutions to give you money for whatever reason. It's a good time to apply for that, because you're very likely going to get your offer, get your like request accepted. Now, from the 5th of March till the 26th of March, we've got Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Now, Pisces, for you, my dear Cancer, rules the 9th house of travel and higher education. It is a very good time to revisit ideas that you have studied before, that you are familiar with, but go back through them and get to like a more profound level of knowledge and delve deeper into them. You might see them with like new eyes altogether, and you might have like some sort of revelation and illumination. Maybe on an intuitive level, you're gonna feel that something is gonna click with you, because Pisces is a very intuitive sign. So you might have almost like an enlightenment, not necessarily on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level. Ideas will start like going to be pieced together, and they're going to start making sense all of a sudden. It is also a very good time to travel to places where you have traveled before. You might actually feel like the universe is throwing opportunities for you to travel to places or to meet up with people that you have met before. It's a good time to go out into the world socially and rekindle relationships at a societal level that you might not have like taken so much care of in the past, or that might have like slipped through the net. You didn't have time, everything got like super busy. On the 6th of March, we've also got a new moon in Pisces in the 9th house for you. So again, this is the house of higher education, of the higher mind, of long distance travel. So I say to you this: if you've wanted to study something for a very long time, if you've always wanted to learn about something and you've never had the time, the opportunity, the whatever circumstances were not right, this is a great time for you to pick that up and actually start doing it, because Mercury retrograde and the new moon are a fantastic time for new beginnings that have some sort of link to the past. Now, on the 20th of March, the spotlight is going to start being on your 10th house of career. And you might feel like you're finally getting some recognition for the hard work that you've been doing in the past year or so. And bosses are going to start noticing you. People at the top are going to start noticing you. And you're going to feel like you're carrying a lot more weight with these people in higher positions. On the 21st of March, on the other hand, we've got a full moon in Libra in your 4th house of home and family. So a family issue or like a home related issue or like a real estate related issue is finally coming to an end. As in, it might have like eaten up a great deal of energy and time. For instance, I've had like a lot of things going on the family front since last September, and it finally feels that things are coming together, and everything was like quite stressful for me, but now things are finally like falling into place. So you're gonna get there as well, my dear Cancer Sun or Cancer Rising. Be very careful for things not breaking down around the house though, because that is also quite possible. But with the full moon in Libra, Libra is like a relationship sign. So I feel like a family relationship is coming to a culmination, or like a house related matter is coming to a culmination. Maybe you're finally moving. Maybe you finally found the home that you've always wanted to live in. Whatever it is, it's an ending. Just wanted to put it out there. And last but not least, after the 26th of March, Venus enters Pisces, your 9th house of travel and higher education. The spotlight for most of March is on this 9th house, which has to do with you broadening your horizons. Go out into the world, spend time with people that you wouldn't necessarily spend time with. Learn as much as you can about how they function, how their world works, learn about their culture. And that is going to help you, first of all, build new relationships. That goes without saying. It tends to happen when you go out into the world and interact with people. But it will also give you a sense of personal satisfaction when it comes to the stage that you've reached from a mental development point of view. And that is Cancer. Hello, my lovely Leos. So, what does March have in store for you? Well, first of all, I've got one word rolling about in my head when I think of you. Love and committed relationships, guys. Hello. I know Leos are actually one of the most loyal signs of the zodiac, and they do very well in a long-term committed relationship. So this is probably going to be music to your ears, both if you're like single or like casually dating, but also if you are already in a long-term partnership. Because on the 1st of March, we've got Venus entering Aquarius, your 7th house of partnerships, but long-term partnerships. So I'm not just talking about casual hookups. I am talking about the real long-term committed deal. This, obviously, for those who are uncoupled, means you've got a very high chance of meeting someone that you're gonna really like and that you're gonna really be able to picture spending a great deal of time with, possibly years, possibly decades, I don't know, just to put it out there. You obviously have to go out and surround yourself with people to do that, especially if you're single, so FYI. Not that I need to like point that out, but hey, I just want to be sure. I just want to be on the safe side. Now, if you are single, this is also going to be, if you're not single, if you are committed already, this is going to be a good time to rekindle that fire with your partner, to give them a bit more of your time and attention and warmth. And you might feel that you're actually really, really loved. So it's going to be all lovey-dovey. March, just FYI. However, we've got Mercury going retrograde from the 5th of March till the 26th of March. And Mercury is going retrograde in your 8th house. So it's going to bring a bit of confusion, a bit of misunderstanding, a bit of delays, because Mercury retrograde has delays spelt all over it. I know you can be quite impatient, my dear Leos, especially Leo suns. But hang on in there. This too shall pass. Now, the 8th house is related to other people's money. It is related with the relationship, with the resources, not relationships, that you have in common with other people. It is also like a very relational house per se. So if, for instance, you have been in a trial, in a divorce trial, or like some sort of like division of assets trial, then you might find that throughout the month of March, things are not necessarily going in the direction in which you'd want them to. And if you were waiting for like money from, I don't know, a deal, a merger, a past, an ex-husband, things are not moving as swiftly as you expected them to. There will be probably additional paperwork, things will get lost in translation, things are very likely to be misunderstood. My advice to you, my dear Leo, is the following. If you need to request money from someone, or if you are waiting for like a response related to other people's money, or like money coming from other people, be very careful what you sign. Be very careful what you get yourself into. You might have to like dig out additional paperwork. You might have to dig out additional documents. It's going to be quite frustrating. I have to say this, but this too shall pass. April is going to be a lot better from that point of view. So hang on in there. It is also very possible because Mercury is transiting your 8th house of sex. Sex with an ex is very possible because retrograde periods tend to bring people who have been in our lives at some point, and it's very possible that it's going to bring them back. Don't say you didn't know about it. Don't get embroiled in some sort of like seesaw between the present and the past. But that's just me. That's just my advice. Take it or leave it. Now, on the 6th of March, you've got a new moon in Pisces. Which is again the 8th house of other people's money and shared resources and death and rebirth. And it's also a house that confronts us with our fears. So, I would say you can no longer run away from your fears, and you can no longer run away from the skeletons in the closet. It is a time for you to find a new way of dealing with old demons. However you decide to do that, maybe you decide to like finally go to therapy for something that you've been like sweeping under the rug and like pushing to the side and not paying too much attention to it. Maybe you decide to finally open up that trial and ask for the money that is owed for you. So this is a new beginning that has to do with an old demon and an old fear. I say, do not postpone it anymore. It's a time for you to tackle it once and for all. Now, on the 6th of March, we've got Uranus entering Taurus. And my dear Leos, this is going to be, what I'm going to tell you is going to be the look and feel of your career life for the next 7-ish years. So you might find that sweeping career changes are in store for you, especially at the beginning of this transit. So I'd say spring and summer are gonna turn your career upside down. And for some of you, this is gonna mean fantastic opportunities. Things that you've never thought possible are gonna come your way. And it is up to you to jump on them and to take that leap of faith. It is also very possible that things might not turn out the way you expected them to. And as a fixed sign, you are quite reluctant to change. So am I. I'm an Aquarius and I'm a fixed sign. But there is nothing you can do to like stop the wave of changes that is coming your way career-wise. What I would recommend you to do is to ride that wave. Let's say you lose your job and you've been working so hard for it for like, I don't know, years and years, and when you thought you'd finally reach that like higher up position, something happens, I don't know, you get made redundant, God forbid. But in any case, don't look at it as if it's something bad. It is actually something good. The universe is pushing you in the correct direction that is in alignment with your soul from a career point of view and from a purpose in the wider world point of view. You might find that your reputation also changes throughout the next 7 years. You might find that you want a lot more freedom and a lot more liberty when it comes to your work life and your career than you've ever wanted before. So you're going to want to break free from the chains and start finally doing something that matters for you, not just for other people. But hey, change is coming. So you heard it here first. Now, on the 20th of March, for the next month or so, we've got the sun entering Aries, which is your 9th house of long distance travel. So you might find yourself traveling quite a bit from the 20th of March till like the 3rd week of April. Embrace it. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. Aries is a sign that blends really well with Leo, and you're going to get like this sense of like new beginning altogether. Last but not least, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon happening in Libra. Now, Libra for you, my dear Leo, rules... Wait for it, because I'm looking into it. Libra rules your 3rd house. The 3rd house is the house of communication. It is the house of siblings. It is the house of short distance travel, of moving around. And it has to do with learning. So a skill that you've been like learning and perfecting for the past year or so, you might feel like you've finally reached a level that you are happy with. It is also a time when something important related to your siblings or your neighborhood and community is reaching like its pinnacle. So I don't know, you might see like a new like community group being finally set up. You might see a sibling moving around, or like starting a new chapter in their lives. You're going to enjoy this period because Libra is a sign that again blends very well with Leo. So whatever happens, it's gonna be for the best. Last but not least, from the 26th of March, Mercury finally goes retrograde. So things are starting to like clear up and the clouds are being like pushed away. You're finally starting to see like the end line, the finish line in an 8th house matter. So like I said, shared finances, shared resources, things are starting to clear up, and I'd say take advantage of this period of this like last week of March and first week of April, because you've got Venus on your side, and it means that people are going to enjoy doing business with you. People are going to enjoy giving you things. People might feel the need to bestow gifts upon you, so take advantage of what's happening right now. And that's Leo, my dear friends. Now, Virgo, March 2019. What the hell is going on, my dear Virgos? First of all, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it. Venus enters Aquarius on the 1st of March in your 6th house of day-to-day work, day-to-day habits, health, well-being. It is a fantastic time for you work-wise. I'd say you're gonna get along better with colleagues than you've gotten along in like the past year or maybe couple of years. altogether. It is also a good time to reevaluate your work relationships and to start building on those connections, because whatever effort you make at connecting with other people in the work environment is going to be very well received, and you're going to find it very satisfying. Last but not least, from the 1st of March until the 26th of March, it is a fantastic time to work on your health and possibly even your aesthetic and beautifying the way you look. So it's a time to focus on wellness and well-being, but it's also a time to look after yourself health-wise, because Venus, let us not forget, is the planet of beauty after all. And when you feel relaxed and when you feel good, and God knows that Virgos tend to accumulate a great amount of stress, everything's gonna work much better, and you're gonna feel much more at ease with yourself, with your body, with your daily routine. So go take that massage, spend a day at the spa, spend a day connecting with your friends or with a person that is close to you in a health related environment. Maybe even start a diet together with a colleague, a work colleague. FYI, I do not support diet culture. I am talking about a healthier diet in general. So not just focusing on how you look, okay? It's about feeling healthy altogether. Now, on the 5th of March till the 26th of March, we've got something that might throw a bit of a spanner in the works. We've got Mercury going retrograde in your 7th house of relationships, long-term committed relationships with other people. It can be your significant other, your partner, or it can be someone that you are in a business relationship with, like a partner, a business partner, FYI. It is very possible that you might, if you are in a committed relationship, that you might have a fair amount of communication misunderstandings to deal with partnership-wise. Old issues that you thought were solved tend to bubble up, because that's what Mercury retrograde does. It is possible that people from your past might bubble up as well, and they might have a not so great impact on your current committed relationship. So if exes do come up out of nowhere, which they always do during Mercury retrogrades, don't say you have not been warned, my dear Virgo. Don't make any rash decisions during this time, because you're very likely going to reevaluate whatever decisions you make after Mercury goes out of retrograde. Last but not least, make sure that whatever texts you send to a partner, whatever emails, whatever you say to them on the phone is not misconstrued, and that the meaning is well understood, because misunderstandings are the key word with Mercury retrograde. Now, on the 21st of March, you're gonna love this, there is a full moon happening in Libra in your 2nd house of money and earned income and your own personal values. So a financial matter finally comes to a culmination point, and it is likely going to be something that you enjoy to an extent, even if it does involve you spending a little bit of the money that you work so hard for. It is also a time when you might find out whether you get that raise or not. It is also a time when your financial undertakings in the past year or so finally come to a pinnacle, and this is when you see either your efforts rewarded, or if you've been negligent, or if you've been rash, or if you haven't been cautious. I'm talking about Virgo, right? You're always cautious. This is when your rewards are gonna, when your efforts are gonna be finally rewarded, and you might see your financial life being taking a turn for the better. Now, last but not least, on March the 31st, for the next 2 months or so, we've got Mars entering Gemini in your 10th house of career matters. So you're going to have from the 31st of March onwards for the next couple of months a great deal of energy that you'll need to spend work-wise, but especially career-wise. So I'm not talking about your daily routines, which you've probably nailed already because you're a Virgo, you rule daily routines. This is a time for you to put into advancing your career, to put into taking your career in a certain direction. Do you have a goal? Do you have an objective? If yes, you've got April and May to focus on this new goal and this new direction. Opportunities might come your way. Do say yes, even though you might not feel like you're prepared. You're a Virgo. You're never going to feel like you're prepared enough. So I'm quite adamant about these things. Say yes to the opportunity. And that is March, my dear Virgo. Hello, my dear Libras. So what does March have in store for you? A lot of good stuff and a lot of challenging stuff, as it does for all of us, because Mercury is going retrograde, my dear Libras, on the 5th of March till the 26th of March. So I have a piece of advice for you, and I've given this piece of advice to all signs. First of all, do not buy electronics. Do not buy technology equipment, because you're very likely gonna either have to return it, or it's gonna break down, or you're gonna find out that there was a much better deal somewhere else and you did not take it. Now, Mercury is going retrograde in your 6th house of health and day-to-day work. So if you've had like some sort of like health issue that you have not been paying attention to, this is going to be a time when you will have to pay attention to it, because you're no longer going to be able to avoid it, ignore it. It's going to come out of the woodworks nagging you, so you'll just have to deal with it. Some sort of like condition that you've had in the past, and maybe you've treated it, maybe you did not treat it, but this is a time when you're going to have to like give it proper treatment. So that's one thing. Secondly, be very careful in your work environment what it is that you say to your colleagues, and what it is that you say in emails, in texts. Any type of communication might be misconstrued, might be misunderstood, or it might get lost in translation. So you might have sent an email to someone telling them to do something. Next thing you know, 3 days later, they haven't done it and they've missed a deadline because your email was stuck in their junk folder, for instance. So follow up on communication. Make sure everyone is on the same page in order to avoid disaster at a later date. So that is Mercury retrograde. Now, I've also got good news, obviously. On the 1st of March, we've got Venus entering Aquarius in your 5th house, which is the house of love, romantic affairs, children, creativity, fun, and entertainment. So even though things might not go like as expected or as intended at work, and let's say you might have a lot of like projects to past projects to finally complete, things might get quite stressful because your colleagues don't understand, they don't get what you're telling them. Love-wise, and from an entertainment and fun point of view, this is a fantastic month for you to go out, have fun, meet someone new, hook up, flirt, enjoy, and I would say soak in all the romantic energy that the universe is throwing your way this month. You might feel like potential romantic partners are just like automatically being drawn to you no matter what you do. You don't even have to make an effort. You don't even have to flirt. You just have to be there and they just come up out of nowhere. So a really good month to be in love, to fall in love, or if you're already in a relationship, to spend time with your loved one, because your relationship is gonna be so lovely. Now, on the 6th of March also, we've got Uranus entering Taurus. Now, Taurus, for you, my dear Libra, is your 8th house of other people's money, sex, death and rebirth, taboos, hidden fears, hidden demons. when you've got Uranus transiting this house, you might, and it's going to be there for like the next 8 years or so. It might be very hard for you to predict whatever happens with the resources that you share with other people. So let's say you are married or not married, you've got a joint account with someone. It might feel like things are slipping out of your control, and what the 8th house wants to teach us is that sometimes we can't control everything, and it's okay, and we just have to deal with the chaos, no matter how afraid we are of dealing with the chaos. You might feel like, let's say you are losing money that were owed to you, but also you might see a windfall coming your way that you did not expect. So it can go either way with Uranus. Uranus is unpredictable. You might have like an inheritance being thrown your way from like a relative you never knew in your real life. So like I said, keep your eyes open, but also keep your psyche open, and try to come to grips with the fact that life is chaos. And all we can do is ride the wave and play the cards that we've been dealt. Now, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra. And this is a time when, because Libra is obviously you, it's your personality, it's your physical body. This is a time when you might feel more drained of energy than ever before. You might feel exhausted. You might feel like you need to rest, you need to recuperate, and you might feel like everyone wants a piece of you. No matter how much of your time and energy you are already giving them, everyone is like all eyes on you, and they want your soul and undivided attention. And it's going to be quite stressful, I'm not going to lie. It might also be quite stressful because there might be like an argument in the air, or like a bit of conflict in the air with a significant other, with your partner, with the person that you are in a relationship with. Be very careful what you say, and don't say things that you might regret later on, because this too shall pass. So all is gonna be well again, but make sure you don't hurt yourself, make sure you don't hurt others through the things that you say, and make sure you get plenty of rest. That's what I have to say about it. Now, that is Libra in March. Moving on to Scorpio in March. I know, I realize I'm probably a bit too joyous about you, Scorpio. You do not appreciate that, or maybe you do. March is an interesting one, Scorpio. I'm going to tell you this. First of all, on the 1st of March, Venus enters Aquarius, which is your 4th house of home, of family, of real estate, of your past, of your roots, of your childhood. You might feel the need to spend more time with your family throughout this month. You might feel the need to spend more time at home. You might feel the need to connect more with your family, with your relatives, and get out of your cocoon, and work on rebuilding that relationship. It's not very often that you are willing to step outside of your bubble and give other people the raw, emotional, real you. So this is a time when you might feel like you can connect better with the people in your family. It is also a time, it's a month when you might find it very satisfying to beautify your home. So if you want to do any like interior decoration, you've got from the 1st of March till the 26th of March to do it. Now, from the 5th of March, however, till the 26th, we've got Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Pisces is your 5th house of fun, of love, of romantic relationships, of children, of creativity. You're going to take this retrograde quite easily, if I may say so, my dear Scorpio. Be careful not to like get into unnecessary arguments because of misunderstandings with a loved one, especially a person that you are romantically involved with. But other than that, you might find exes coming up into your life more than ever before, just to put it out there. So exes coming out of the woodworks is very, very much the theme for March for Virgos and Scorpios. Secondly, it is a good time to revisit some sort of like creative work that you've been involved with and that you might have pushed to the side, or you might have not had time to like finish it. So it is a good time to finally finish it, and you are going to be able to channel that creativity and that inspiration to bring things to an end. Now, on the 21st of March, you've got a full moon in Libra, which is your 12th house. And it might feel like a time when all the things that you've learned, all the things that you've studied, all the things that have changed you at a very deep, profound level are finally coming together. And they make sense on a spiritual level and on a subconscious level. So the 21st of March, I don't want to say that it's going to be a time necessarily of spiritual revelations, but it might feel like it. Or it might feel like a time when you can finally make sense of something that's been nagging you and that's been eating at you for a very long time, and you just couldn't find what it meant. You just couldn't comprehend why fate or the universe or karma was throwing things your way, and it just didn't make sense. So you might finally make sense of this, and you might finally understand what your lesson is. I know, very deep. I wouldn't have it any other way for you, Scorpio. Last but not least, on the 26th of March, we've got Mercury going direct in Pisces, and we've also got Venus entering Pisces. So your fifth house of home, and your fifth house of love and romantic relationships and children. So after the 26th of March, things will go back to normal love-wise and relationship-wise. And let's say if you have children, and if you've been like arguing with them and couldn't see eye to eye with them throughout the month, then things are gonna get back into a much better place, I would say, and a much more loving and understanding place. And you're gonna be able to find middle ground with either a loved one or a child after the 26th of March. So that is Scorpio. My dear Sagittarians, welcome to March 2019. The month when you will redo your home, redecorate your home, redo your bathroom, renovate your house. Why do I say all these things? Because Mercury is retrograding in your fourth house of home and family. So, my dear Sagittarians, you've got a month ahead of you, so from the 5th of March until the 26th, but I'd say you're going to feel it until pretty much the end of the month, in which home-related matters are going to call for your undivided attention. And it is very likely going to be related to challenges or issues that you either thought were like solved or that you've been postponing for the past month, year, God knows how long. This is finally going to be the month when you're just going to do it. Just do it, because you're no longer going to be able to postpone them anymore. So like I said, it's a very good time to like redo your house, renovate like a part of your house, buy furniture, or let's say if you've been looking for a home to move somewhere and then you stop looking, now this is going to be the time to pick it back up. So the link with the past and the home is very strong with Mercury retrograde in this area of your chart. Be very careful what you say to your family members, because they might misunderstand you very easily, because that's what Mercury retrograde does. Also, be very careful how you take the things that they say to you, because communications are very emotionally charged with Mercury and Pisces. Therefore, we can misinterpret the signals very easily. Or we might just like miss their messages. We might miss their calls, and it might annoy them to death. I've also got good news. Obviously, with Mercury retrograde, communications go a bit up in the air technology can break down. Things in the house might break down for you. Technology in the house, because Mercury is retrograde in your 11th house of home, in your 4th house of home. Maybe a television is going down. Maybe your phone is not functioning. I was about to say your internet. Gosh, that is a nightmare. I mean, I've been through it. I've lived for like a month and a half without internet in the house because it just couldn't get fixed. I know, very first world problems, but it's like really bad when you go through it. So just FYI, I wanted to put it out there for you. Things are going to get pretty much back to normal after the 26th of March, but until then, tread carefully, my dear Sagittarius. On the 1st of March, however, we've got Venus until the 26th of March, entering your 3rd house of learning, communication, siblings. It's going to be a great time to spend more time with your brothers, sisters, siblings. It is also going to be a very good time to focus on learning a new skill, learning something new, and you're going to enjoy it. That's the best part. If you work in sales, let me tell you this, with Mercury retrograde and with Venus in your 3rd house of connections and communications, it is a fantastic time to go back to previous clients and try to sell them things or like upsell them things. It's a fantastic time to reach out to old clients and old customers because they're going to be very open to whatever it is that you have to say to them. Now, on the 6th of March and for the next 7 years, my dear Sagittarius, I know you like change, but you're gonna get like a portion of change, a very long drawn portion of change for the next 7 years in your work sector. Prepare for the unexpected, prepare for the unpredictable. Things might change very easily and very dramatically in your work environment. Your day-to-day habits and routines might be turned upside down. Also be very careful how you deal with electricity and be very careful not to speed into things, not to rush into things, because Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, that transits your 6th house, is very much also linked to accidents. So if you are rash, which we know Sagittarians can be quite rash. I mean, I know I am like generalizing here, but as a sign, as a pure Sagittarian energy, Sagittarius throw themselves into things. So be careful what you throw yourself into so that it does not affect your physical health, okay? FYI. Prepare for like waves of change work-wise. Prepare for your day-to-day routine, like I said, to be upended. You do work very well with change, so I have the feeling that you're going to take things in your own stride, but don't expect things to stay as they are. And don't expect things to stay as they will be for a long period of time before they get turned upside down all over again. Now, on the 31st of March, we've got Mars entering Gemini, and it's going to be in Gemini for pretty much the entire month of April and May. Gemini is your 7th house of partnerships. With Mars there, things can get like super sultry and you can have like fantastic sex, but you can also have fantastically inconvenient conflicts and arguments with a significant other, and you might feel like either your partner is like incredibly aggressive lately and you just don't see eye to eye anymore, or you might come across your partner as being like too rash, too aggressive, too direct, too honest. So do your best to try not to fight with a partner, but fights and conflicts are very much possible when we've got Mars transiting your 7th house of partnerships and relationships with other people. FYI, don't say you didn't know about it. Let us move on to Capricorn. So, my dear Capricorns, what will March bring your way this time? First of all, let me tell you this. We've got a Mercury retrograde and a new moon in Pisces, it's going to affect pretty much the entire month of March, let me tell you this. So Mercury goes retrograde on the 5th of March in your 11th house of dreams, friendships, and long-term objectives. And also your place in the wider world and what you do for others as opposed to what you do for you and for your own benefit. With Mercury retrograde in Pisces for pretty much the entire month of March, you might revisit old dreams and old ideals and old things that you used to believe in, and that maybe you still believe in them, but you haven't been doing too much to steer your life in a particular direction that involves them. It might also be a time to reevaluate your dreams and to see whether they are still relevant for you. Do you still believe in them? Are they still something that you'd like to pursue? So it is a good time to go over the things that have been possibly guiding you, or they might have guided you at a certain point in your life. Now, it's also a good time to catch up with friends that you haven't seen in a long time, because let's not forget the 11th house is also the house of friendships and friends. Things might get like really emotional, and you might feel like you're actually reconnecting really well with people who used to be a very important part of your life, and for whatever reason you haven't had the time, the energy, or the right circumstances to keep in your life. Now, on the 1st of March, we've got Venus entering Aquarius till the 26th of March, and Capricorns, I know you're gonna love this. I just know it. Venus in your 2nd house is very likely gonna bring money your way. So is that bonus finally coming your way in March? Is that additional source of income finally seeing the light of day? Very possible. Absolutely very possible. So March is a month when you might see your bank account increase in, not necessarily in size, whatever, the money in your bank account go up. I'm trying to find the right metaphor, but let's just call it what it is. You're very likely going to see money coming your way throughout March. It is also very possible that you're going to feel a lot more empowered and a lot more at ease with who you are, what you do, what it is, what are your values, what you feel worthy for. You might feel like quite worthy throughout March, because in general, Capricorns tend to be super hard on themselves. So March is going to be a month when your merits are going to be acknowledged, and therefore your sense of self-worth is likely going to go up. And if your merits are acknowledged, then money might very well go hand in hand with it. So it's all coming together. Now, last but not least, on the 6th of March, we've got, for the next 7 years, so just saying, the time frame is by no means reduced. It is a very long time frame. We've got Uranus entering Taurus. Uranus in Taurus is going to be in your 5th house of children, love, romantic relationships, and fun for the next 7 years or so. Now, the good part about it is that you are finally likely going to overhaul your idea of what fun and entertainment is. And no, it is not working yourself down till you can't get out of your bed anymore. Fun is fun, and you are going to probably discover that you enjoy doing things that you never thought you would enjoy in the past. So your whole attitude towards what is fun and what is entertaining and what you're passionate about doing is very likely going to change. You might pick up a new hobby. It's very likely that you're going to pick up a new hobby. And last but not least, because Uranus tends to be quite unpredictable and can bring all sorts of things into our life, ultimately to help us get a clearer sense of who we are and what our mission is and what progress means for us. it is possible that your love life is going to go through a very tumultuous period of time for the next 7 years. So you might want a lot more freedom than you ever wanted from your love life. You might want to like freely pursue the love interests that you have, and that might come at a cost. And you generally don't do things that jeopardize your like reputation or your status in the world. But this time, when it comes to love matters, you're gonna say, to hell with reputation, to hell with society's expectations, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I applaud you for that, and please do that. Last but not least, you're gonna feel your sense of creativity go through the roof, and you might feel more inspired than ever to create things in the next 7 years. And your sense of creativity is gonna be quite edgy and quite innovative, as opposed to what Capricorn tends to be like generally, which is quite traditional and quite attached to the past and quite conservative. So you might even surprise yourself. It is a fantastic time if you're working in any sort of like creative environment to create things and to surprise others, because it's going to be incredibly original, whatever it is that you create. You're even going to surprise yourself. You're going to be like, is this who I am now? Where did this come from? So enjoy, my dear Capricorn. Now, last but not least, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra in your 10th house. Well, knowing who you are, Capricorn, I'm gonna make a wild guess and say that this is finally the time when you get that long overdue, hard earned promotion. Things are coming to a culmination. So if you don't get that promotion, then you might see like a project that you've been spending a lot of time on, and a very prestigious one at that, finally come to an end. So it's all coming together, and you're gonna get recognition and applause, and you're gonna be in the limelight for it. So it's gonna go well for you either way. And last but not least, whatever happens around the 21st of March might put not just you in the spotlight, but also your boss or people like higher up than you in the spotlight. So you might hear news related to your boss, or like there might be changes at the top. But in any case, whatever happens career-wise at this point around the 21st of March is going to impact the next year for you from a professional point of view. You might have like an eureka moment. You might be like, yes, this is what I want to do. Or yes, I finally reached the point that I wanted to reach. So enjoy and let me know how it goes. My dear Aquarius, so what is March gonna bring your way? First of all, let me tell you this. I'm an Aquarius, in case you didn't know. Secondly, let me tell you another thing. On the 1st of March, we've got Venus entering Aquarius in your first house of physical body, sense of identity, how other people see you. You're gonna be a lot more charismatic and a lot more appealing and magnetic than you usually are, because let's face it, you are not everyone's cup of tea. People either like you or hate you, just like Marmite. This time, this month, most people are gonna like you. Most people that you interact with are gonna be biased in seeing you through rosy colored glasses, because that's what Venus tends to do. So it tends to make us attractive. It tends to make us appealing. If you are looking to get into a relationship of some sorts, I have to say this is a fantastic time for you to go out and date, because you're gonna be very attractive to the other sex, or like to the same sex, whatever type of relationships you're into. Last but not least, if you want to change your style, if you want to change your looks, this is the month to do it. Change your haircut if you feel like it, or like change your hair color, or go shopping and refresh your wardrobe. Again, this is the best time to do it with Venus going through your first house of appearance and all that. Thirdly, sorry, because my second point was about Venus. We've got Mercury retrograde for like most of March in your second house of earned income. And you might have to deal with some unexpected expenses. Money that were due to you might be delayed in its tracks for whatever reason. If you make any payments, please look at whatever it says on the POS card or whatever that's called, and make sure that you're actually paying the right amount, because you might end up paying more for something that costs less. So a lot of like confusion and misunderstanding around money. If you're due money, then it's either gonna get to you late, or maybe more money is gonna come to you, but that money's not yours, so you have to give it back. If you have to like deal with money on a daily basis, be super careful and double check that your wallet is like not being stolen, or that I don't know, you haven't tipped someone like £100 instead of like 10 and stuff like that. So a lot of confusion around money, but it is what it is. This too shall pass. Be very careful what you spend your money on, though. Don't spend it on electronics and technology, because it's gonna either like break down, or you'll have to return it, or whatever. Don't buy it during Mercury retrograde. That's my personal advice. And I keep on dishing it out, but hey, you don't necessarily have to listen to it. Now, on the 6th of March, however, we have a new moon in Pisces. And Pisces is indeed your second house of earned income. So it feels like, to me, an old stream of income will get a new lease of life. So if you were doing something to generate some additional money in the past, and you've either stopped doing it or you weren't paying that much attention to it, this is a time to start paying attention to it again, because this is a time to sow new seeds and see much, much better results. Actually, results that are going to impact your financial life for the next year or so. It is also very possible that you are going to see old clients reach out to you with requests. If you don't see them, do reach out to them yourself, because they're very likely going to take you up on the offer. So we've got a new beginning in your financial life. However, it's linked to something that you started doing in the past. So find that link and take advantage of it. Now, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra, in the 9th house of higher education and higher learning and long distance travel. So something that you've been learning in the past year has finally broadened your horizons, and it's finally reached a culmination, and it's finally coming to an end. And you can see what the next step is. You are very close to like closing that chapter. What next? That is up to you. So this closing of chapter is happening more on a mental level, I would say. Last but not least, Uranus is entering Taurus on the 6th of March in your 4th house. The 4th house is the house of home and family. What does that mean? So brace yourselves, Aquarians. You've got 7 years ahead of you when anything can happen on a family front. So you might buy new properties. You might have like homes all over the place. You might have to move several times. Your family might increase, or you might move away from your family. Everything and anything is possible. What you need to do is keep an open mind and prepare yourselves for the unpredictable. Because as much as we are ruled by Uranus, we don't actually like change unless it's coming from us. And there's not a lot of change coming from us, because we are a fixed sign and we like things to stay as they are and possibly complain about them. All in all, Uranus wants you to move forward and leave old habits behind, leave old attachments behind, leave the past behind. So however that happens for you on a family front and on a home and living environment front is up to you to tell me about it. Like I said, you can move house, you can move out of the country, you can buy new homes, you can buy new land. Your family, your familial family situation can very much take any turn, I would say. It's also possible that someone might get eclipsed out of your life. People might come and go family-wise, because that does tend to happen when Uranus is transiting a certain house. But keep in mind, whatever happens is there to like teach you a lesson. What is that lesson? It's up to you to get it. Pisces, March 2019. What's coming up next, Pisces? Well, a lot is coming up. Let me tell you this. First of all, we've got Mercury going retrograde in your own sign for most of the month, pretty much. So on the 5th of March, Mercury is going retrograde in your first house of physical body, of personality, of how other people see you, of your own sense of identity. And Mercury is gonna be retrograde until the 26th of March, but you're likely gonna feel its impact until the end of March, basically. Now, what does that mean? It means that you might be very frustrated throughout the entire month, that people don't get you. People do not understand you. You might be very frustrated at the fact that you can't find your words, or whatever you say, it gets misconstrued, or it doesn't come across the way you want it to come across, or you might encounter like really like physical impediments to you communicating your thoughts or communicating with other people in general, such as the text messages that you are sending are not reaching their destination, or the emails that you're sending are not reaching their destination. So it can be super frustrated, and you can feel really misunderstood and more out of place in this world than you normally do, because we know you live like in a transcendental place and you're much more connected with the higher planes of existence than other signs. But this month you might really like struggle to get your point across, basically. Now, there's also good news. So we've got Venus entering Aquarius on the 1st of March till the 26th of March. The 12th house is the house that is usually ruled by Pisces. So the 12th house is a place where you feel much more at home than any other sign. With Venus there, you might feel like you can finally connect to your spiritual side in a way that you might have not been able to do so before. Or you might find solace in spending time on your own, and you might find that you enjoy being on your own more than ever before. It's a fantastic time to meditate. It is a fantastic time to relax. It is a fantastic time to float to other dimensions, and you might find that you can actually connect to other people better by doing that than by actually being direct and honest and speaking your mind and trying to do so in a conventional way. Now, on the 6th of March, we've got Uranus entering Taurus, which is your 3rd house of communication, of learning, of connections, of siblings, of your neighborhood and community. It is also the house of sales and of transportation. What is going on, my dear Pisces? So this is more of a long-term thing that's happening for you. In the next 7 years or so, you might go back to school. You might have to start learning skills that you did not need before, or that were not relevant to you before. But this is a time when you realize, actually, I really need to learn this stuff because it's going to be super useful for me. You're going to be much more much sharper on a mental level. You're going to find it a lot easier to take in new information. However, having Uranus transiting your 3rd house can also mean that for the next 7 years or so, there will be a lot of short trips that you'll need to make. A lot of comings and goings. And you might find yourself always on the move, which, depending on what other planets you've got in your chart, can either bode well with them, or it can get quite stressful and quite annoying. Now, on the 21st of March, we've got a full moon in Libra happening in your 8th house. What does that mean? The 8th house is the house of other people's money. It is the house of shared resources. It is a house of gifts. It is also the house of sex. It is a house of taboos. It is a house of like skeletons in the closet. a situation regarding shared resources might finally come to an end. So this chapter is like closing in your life. So I don't know if you were waiting for like money from like an insurer to come your way, or if you've applied for like some sort of like grant or financial like help or investment from other people, you're finally gonna get your response, or you're finally gonna get your money if that's the case. Last but not least, on the 26th of March, a really good day for you. Mercury is going out of retrograde. Finally, you can breathe easily. You're not going to be so sensitive to other people's like perceptions of your own thoughts, or like of who you are in general, because you might feel for most of March that people don't get you at all. So that feeling can be like accentuated and highlighted throughout March, and I know how annoying it can get. On the 26th of March, Venus enters Pisces, and things are gonna like take a U-turn, and you're gonna feel like really loved and appreciated. So please do bask in that feeling, because it's gonna last until like the third week of April. From the 26th of March onwards, I would also say it's a good time to invest in your physical appearance. So ride that aesthetic wave with Venus in your own house. Get a haircut to refresh your look. Go shopping. Try out like a new style, a new makeup. I don't know. I'm talking about what I would do. Just saying, I've got like natal Venus in Pisces, FYI. But things are gonna be a lot more pleasant for you on an identity level from the 26th of March onwards. So like I said, don't take personally whatever people say to you, and don't take it personally the fact that they don't understand you throughout most of March, because it's got nothing to do with you. It's got something to do, however, with Mercury and Pisces. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed the March 2019 horoscopes, guys. If you've got any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. And do not forget, if you are interested in getting a natal chart reading, because horoscopes only work if you know what your natal chart looks like and you know what to listen to, feel free to get in touch. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box down below. Happy spring, guys! Enjoy! I'll speak to you soon. Bye!